Good. Lift his torso, look up. Good. Tuck the chin a little bit. Are you somebody that loves to swim? Here are a few exercises using the Pilates equipment that you can do to help improve your swimming technique and also your strength and flexibility. I'm Davi, and we're going to be using the reformer, tower, and chair today to do some exercises specific to swimming. So we have Quentin Augusta here, also my husband, and he's going to be demonstrating some of these exercises for us. The first exercise we're going to do is supine arm circles on the foam roller. Now, in my previous video, I had the trapeze table, but today we have a tower. So what Quentin's going to do is lie down onto the foam roller on his back. So his spine's going to be aligned with the foam roller. All right, and then he's going to go ahead and knit his ribs down so that his spine is nice and flat onto that foam roller. And I got some leg springs for Quentin. Normally you'd probably use a yellow spring for this, but Quentin's a bit of a bigger guy, so I have faith in his ability to do arm circles here. So what he's gonna do is sweep his hands down towards his side, circle out, back up towards the ceiling, keep the tension on those springs, and then back down. Now you can also manage the amount of tension here by how far or close you are to the insertion point of the pulleys. Let's do one more and then we'll switch directions here. Now with each circle, what's great about this for swimmers is that we can also go and switch directions. You can also increase the mobility here. So you can also sweep his arms further down closer to the floor. Now the foam roller allows for this. Now the foam roller, because it's a little bit lifted off of the table, he's able to get more range of motion behind his body. And that is the supine arm circles on the foam roller. All right, so our next exercise is the prone pulling straps. Now there's a whole series for this, but what Quentin's gonna do is lie down onto his stomach facing the tower, and his chest is gonna be slightly off the front edge of the box. I'm using one red spring here. Now, obviously you can always go lighter if you wanna do unilateral work, or you can always go heavier if this is not challenging enough. So what Quentin's gonna do is grab the straps there closer to the rings. Good, and actually he's gonna grab the edge here, kind of like the actual whole straps. Good. Now, same concept with shoulder mobility and swimming. He's gonna have energy through the legs, squeezing his glutes, reaching his feet away. Arms are gonna be straight, and then he's gonna sweep those hands back behind his body, circle them out and up, and then back to the front, keeping the tension onto the straps here. So let's just do 3 in each direction. Now, this is kind of similar to what you might see as like a butterfly stroke here. And then we're gonna go ahead and circle the other direction. 2, good. Tucking the chin, he's looking down at the floor. And 3, very good. And you can kind of release, hinge over the box there, because this is a lot of extension work. Extension is a big thing in swimming. Now he's also gonna pull those straps again one more time. And then there's 3 other exercises you can do here. We can do straight pull back. So he's gonna line his arms along the frame, open the chest, pull the shoulder blades together, and then reach him back forward. Reaching towards the feet, nice and open, good. And we'll do one more. Thinking length through the spine here. And then he's gonna reach the hands back down under the shoulders. Now here's our lat pull version. We're gonna bring the arms straight out to the side. We'll just do 2 here, sweeping them down towards the hips. Now this is more of an open chain variation. Now we do have a closed chain variation that we'll probably show later. We'll do one more, and then we'll hold the arms to the side, and then here we'll go right into tricep press. So he's gonna bend the elbows, straighten and reach. Good. We'll just do one more of those. And that is the prone pulling strap series. So this next exercise is called the backstroke. And what Quentin's gonna do is lie down onto his back. We're gonna keep still a red spring here. And then we're gonna grab these straps, probably the long loops. And then what he's gonna do is lift his legs up into tabletop, engage his abdominals, and then bring his fists together, elbows out, okay? Now in this position, he's gonna curl up, look down at his belly. Good. And then what he's going to do from here is reach both his arms and legs up towards the ceiling. Good. Circle both his arms and legs out, down towards the foot bar, curl up a little higher, look down, and then bend the elbows and knees back in. That is the backstroke. Let's do 2 more of those. Reaching it up. Inhale as you circle them out, and then bend to bring them back in. Both arms and legs circle. Let's try it one more time. Reach them both up, arms and legs circle out, down towards the foot bar, and then bend the elbows and knees back in. And that is the backstroke. Nice job. It's really good. The next exercise is the breaststroke. So what Quinn's gonna do is grab the long straps here, and he's gonna put his hands through the big loops. Now in this position, he's gonna pull the loops towards the corners of the box, place them at the corners, and then lie down onto his chest. All right, now same thing, he's gonna tuck his tailbone under, lift through the belly so his core is still engaged, and then he's reaching those feet away from him. Now breaststroke, he's already getting started here, so no, you're good. So palms down to the floor, elbows out. What he's gonna do is reach the arms overhead, just like he just did. Pause here. Now in this position, he's gonna circle the arms up, lift the torso, lift, lift, lift. Okay. All right, so he's gonna start with his elbows to his side. He's gonna reach straight ahead towards his head, or towards the foot bar, pausing here. Now in this position, he's gonna go ahead and reach the arms up, lift the torso with it, circle the arms back down to the side, and bend them back in to the starting position. So this is a little bit more of an advanced move. This might be something that you progress towards, and there are other positions or other movements we can do to regress from this position. And that is a breaststroke. All right, now, so our next exercise is gonna be called the long stretch series, up and down stretch. Now what Quentin's gonna do is he's gonna put his hands onto the foot bar and then his feet onto the shoulder blocks. And I have a red and a blue spring here. He's gonna go right into a plank. He's gonna lift through his chest, separate the shoulder blades, and then we're gonna do 3 reps of him using his arms pressing out, keeping the arms straight, and then pulling himself in until his shoulders are back over his hands here. Let's do 3 of these. I love how he's keeping his hips down, but he's rounding a little bit up at the upper back, really engaging the serratus anterior. That's a big muscle that's involved in swimming and shoulder stability in swimming. Now what he's gonna do is pull the carriage all the way back in, and then he's gonna shift, he's already into it, shifting his hips back. And then in this position, he's gonna push back with the shoulders, drop the hips, and then pull himself back in. We'll just do 2 here. You don't need to go out that far. Hips down, hips down. There you go. So we're kind of doing a little bit of a worm here. So he's gonna shift the hips back, press down, back into his plank, and then pull himself back in. Now he's gonna reverse it. He's gonna pull himself out or press himself out, lift the hips to pull it in, and then shift the head torso back over the foot bar. Good, 1 more. Good, lift to pull it in. Now he's a taller guy, so he's actually bottoming out a little bit onto, you can bring the knees down. So he's actually bottoming out on the reformer. I would say he'd be a good candidate for a stretch reformer because he's about 6'3". But that is the long stretch, the down stretch, and the up stretch series. Another core exercise that is great for swimming is called the hamstring pull-up 3. Now, what Quentin will do is bring his hands to the sides of the chair, and then he's gonna press his feet down onto the pedals. Now I have a heavier spring on for Quentin because he's also a bigger guy. Just a little bit more support to start with. You can always regress to a lighter spring to make it more difficult. Now what Quentin's gonna do is he's gonna shift his weight over his hands. He's gonna engage his abdominals, tuck the pelvis under, and lift using his core, head between the hands as he comes up. Good, and then he's gonna drop himself back down with control. Let's do 2 more of those. Good. Now there's a flat back variation of this, there's an arabesque variation of this, there's also a single leg variation of this, and oblique. So let's actually transition to oblique. What he's gonna do is bring 1 hand here, 1 hand to the side, and then he's gonna do the same thing, pivot his feet a little bit more diagonal towards me, if not tandem. And then same thing, he's gonna lift it back up, and then lower it back down. We'll do 1 more. Head between the hands, shift the weight, good. And then he'll move to the other side because we wanna make sure we have equal engagement here. And we'll do 2 more, shifting him forward, lifting it up, and last one. Very good. And then he's gonna slowly step off of the pedal because the bottom spring can come up pretty quickly. And that is the hamstring pull-up 3. Our next exercise is a pull-up variation with swimmer kicks. So what Quinn's gonna do is lie down onto the short box. I have a red spring, you can always reduce to a blue spring here. And then he's gonna go ahead and grab the frame, walk himself up to the tower bars. If you do not have a tower, you can always walk yourself up to the pulley bars. And then he's gonna go ahead and reach his legs straight out, nice and long. And he's also gonna lift through his core. So he's offsetting the back engagement with core. Now, he's gonna start swimming with his legs here, starting at the glutes and then pulling himself through the tower bars, controlling it back, and then swimming and reaching those feet behind. We'll do 1 more rep here. What we want to think about here is keeping the core engaged so we're not just hinging at the back as we're in this position. Now he's going to bring his hands back down to the frame after this last rep. And he'll walk himself back, bring his knees down, and that is the exercise. Our next exercise is another extension exercise focused on shoulder mobility. Now this is more of an advanced variation of the swan or the back extension. So what Quentin is gonna do is he's gonna lie down onto his stomach facing the tower. He's gonna put his hands up to the tower bars. or the push-through bar. Now, what Quentin's gonna do is obviously squeeze his glutes, engage his abdominals, and he's gonna press the arms straight ahead. Looking down at the floor. Now, the big part of the shoulder mobility, and I would say maybe you start here, and if doing this while in prone position is too much, you can always start in a seated position. But what Quentin's gonna do is he's gonna bend the elbows wide, let the bar come behind his head, and let it lift through the chest here. Good, and he's gonna lower back down. That is the first part to this. Now, to progress to the next part requires a lot of extension and shoulder mobility. But this is a great way to kind of increase the openness of the, or at least the shoulder mobility for swimming. So what he's gonna do is bend the elbows again wide, lift slightly. He's gonna push his arms straight up towards the ceiling. Good, lift his torso, look up. Good, tuck the chin a little bit. Good, and then he's gonna lower it back down, push the bar down and through. And that is the advanced swan here on the tower. Good, bend and bring it back down. And we'll finish with that one. All right, so our next exercise is a very big classical move here, and that is the feet and straps. So Quentin's gonna go ahead and lie down onto the reformer here. I have 2 reds for him. Obviously, red and a blue is also a very great place to start. Now he's gonna press the carriage out and then put his feet in the straps here. I'll go ahead and help him because they're kind of hard to see on the reformer. So we're gonna put both feet in there, straighten the legs out. And now we have our classic leg lowers, leg lifts. He'll do one of those. So lowering the feet, lifting the feet back up. And then we also have our circles. He's gonna circle out from here. We'll go one in each direction here, kind of increasing the mobility of the hips. Then we'll go the other direction from here. Now, one move I particularly enjoy that I feel is very intuitive for swimmers is frogs. And there's a lot of different ways you can go into frogs. So he's gonna glue those heels together. He's gonna press them straight over the foot bar. Good, zip the inner thighs up and then bend the knees, pull them back in. Now his knees are gonna be about shoulder width apart, so he's gonna make them a little bit more narrow. He's gonna press them back out. Now how do we add a progression here? He's gonna press the legs straight out from here, pause. He's gonna straighten the legs out towards the side at a 45-degree angle. Bend the knees, pull them back in. Good, and then he's gonna press them straight back out again. He's gonna lift into a V. There you go. Heels come together, toes stay apart, and he's gonna press them back out. Let's do one more of those. Now, obviously, this is something you wanna get a little bit of an inner thigh or adductor stretch in. Good. And then let's say we wanna reverse it. So he's gonna pull the heels back in towards the sit bones, straighten the legs straight out to the sides, and then slide the heels back down together. Let's do 2 more of those. Making the knees a little bit more narrow. Zipping it up and then pulling it back in. Good, last one. Good, and then bring it all the way back in. And that is a feet and strap series. There's a lot of things you could add on here for swimmers. So let's say we wanna add on to the feet and straps kind of regimen for swimming. What Quinn's gonna do is he's gonna lie down on the tower. And what's nice about the tower is we have a spring for each limb. Now, the beauty of that is that we can have a little bit more dynamic movement and a little bit more of differential movement through each hip. So Quentin's gonna put, bring your head down a little bit lower. That's good. And then let's go ahead and bring our feet into the strap, or the straps here. All right. Now with the tower, the higher the resistance, the higher the spring is, the more resistance there is. Now Quinn's gonna grab the tower bars here, and then he's gonna start with what's called a scissor kick. So one leg's gonna lower as the other one stays lifted, and then the other one's gonna come down as the other one lifts. Now a big thing we focus on here is keeping the hips level. So there isn't any wobbling or shifting through the hip or the pelvis as the legs move. So that's where the core engagement comes in. That's why we focus a lot on foundational core strength and stability here. Now let's say we want to add in some more mobility work. He's going to keep the legs separate. One leg is up, one leg is down. We're going to go into what's called a helicopter. We're going to circle away from one another, meet back in the middle, and we're going to continue to circle in that same direction. Same direction. We're going to circle in that same direction. There you go. One more. Good. And then he's going to switch directions. Whatever leg was up comes down, and whatever leg was down comes up, and we circle the other direction. This is a little bit different than feet and straps doing the leg circles because there's a spring for each leg. So each leg has to find its own mobility. Now the next exercise with the feet and straps here, we would probably go into what's called magician. Now Quentin's going to keep the legs together. He's going to lower them down towards the mat. And then he's going to engage his abdominals and his glutes. He's going to lift his whole body as a unit. We call this magician. Good. And keeping the hips forward, he's going to lower the feet back down as a unit. And he's going to lift it back up again. Good. And then all the way back down. Wonderful. Now, this is a really great way of teaching stability in the posterior chain and also the core engagement. He can release the springs here. Nice job. And that's a bit more of an advanced move. That's something we would want to work up to. So this is a prone feet and straps series here. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to get into. It helps to have a partner or obviously an instructor to help you get into it. But what Quinn's going to do is he's going to straddle the long box here. And notice I have the springs a little bit lower. Then he's going to go ahead and put his feet onto the straps here first. Now, what he's going to do is bring his hands to the front corner of the box and then sweep his legs behind himself and then lie down onto the box. Now, he's going to reach the legs back. Again, we are focusing on offsetting the low back extension with some core engagement. Now, he's going to hold onto the tower bars to brace himself. And then in this position, he's going to focus on using the glutes to lift the feet up, extension through the knees as he circles around and down towards the table here. Really point the feet, reach the feet towards that foot bar. Good, and he's gonna switch directions after this set or rep here.
And I don't know if you saw me just fiddling with my mic, but this is the point where it just died. And so that being said, though, there are other variations you can do here besides the circles. You can go right into swimmer's kicks or frog kicks. Either variations are nice, especially with a back sprung feet and straps, because there's a different effect on the lower extremities here that can also mimic the tread of water. And the individual springs can also add a layer of difficulty here. Now this next exercise will be on the chair, lying face down. We call this one swan with rotation. Now just because we're focusing more on scapular mobility, I'll have Quentin lay with his hips to the front edge. If you want to take it another step further, he can bring his belly button over the front edge closest to the pedal. So from here, I'm going to split the pedal. I'm going to take the dowel out. Not all chairs have this, but ours does. So that's kind of the beauty of using this chair for this exercise. Quid's going to push the pedals down, keeping the arms straight, and all of the movement's going to come from his shoulder blades here. So as he presses out, he's separating the shoulder blades as much as he can, making them flush with the rib cage. And then every time he lifts a pedal, he's going to keep the arms straight, and he's going to rotate that direction, looking in that direction. So you'll notice as one shoulder blade rotates towards the spine, the other one's pressing away. And what this does is it teaches a good concept of using the shoulder blades to aid in the rotation, which can also be very helpful in like freestyle when you're swimming, and also engaging more of the serratus anterior muscles that help stabilize the shoulder blades. And that is swan with rotation. This last exercise is called spread eagle. Now it's a really great exercise for spinal articulation as well as mobilizing the spine, and then also getting a good stretch through the hamstrings as well. Now what Quinn's going to do is grab the tower bars and lift his toes against the tower legs, and then he's going to start at the top of the spine, diving his chin. The tailbone's going to be the last thing to come back, using gravity rolling through the spine. And then at the bottom, he's going to extend his tailbone, feel stretch through his hamstrings, and then tuck the tailbone under, rolling all the way back up to the cervical spine, extending the chest and head as he lifts, and then diving and rounding again. Kind of similar to how you'd whip a towel, how that kind of energy propagates from one end of the towel to the next, or to the other end of the towel. And what I like about this is with swimming, there is a lot of extension, so teaching this flexion and extension throughout the spine and the mobility through the spine can be really helpful, not just in getting more mobility and flexibility, but also in the strokes themselves.
A huge thank you to my husband, Quentin Augusta, for joining us on all these exercises. They were a lot and they were pretty difficult, so he did awesome. I did leave out some flexibility things, so if there is any interest in looking into some flexibility-focused movements on the reformers, definitely leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and we hope to see you guys next time. Bye!